Hey guys, well, I had planned to do this live today, and unfortunately, when I got on to go live, I saw this little beauty. So that's new. I don't ever remember having to do that over on my Happy Lady channel when I used to live stream over there. So hopefully going forward, we can do these videos live. I think that would be a lot of fun and something new to try. Something different to change things up. But in the meantime, for today, you get this pre-recorded reading. Now, my son informed me a little bit ago that he was having his band over to do band practice at our house. So I've had to temporarily relocate to a church parking lot. And it's not so quiet because there's someone behind me who's working on their roof. So there's a nail gun that's continually going off. I have the jets flying over from the Air Force Base. So that gets pretty loud, but we will do our best. Okay, you guys, so for today's video, I know last time I did a poll, a lot of you said you wanted the book Successful Failures. It almost felt 50-50 with How to Date Your Spouse, so I promise you, once we get through Successful Failures, the next reading will be How to Date Your Spouse. Stay tuned. Now, I have to point out, this is pretty old. As you can tell, most of you know I have 4 children, and at the time of this book, you can see I only had 3 children. So there was still a lot more to be learned in life, a lot more to the story that has happened that's not in this book. And that's what will make this reading fun, because I can narrate in real time my thoughts that were going on back then and compare that to how I think today and the person I am today, because I'm sure it's very different than the person who wrote this book. I'm a little nervous because I have not looked at this book in years, so I can't remember everything that it talks about, but we're going to work through it page by page. So let's start with the cover here. This was taken not too far from where I live. Those of you who live near me might recognize this little area. If you do, share down in the comments and I'll tell you if you're right. So here we have it. Successful Failures, recognizing the divine role that opposition plays in life's quest for success. Based on the ages of my kids, I believe this was about 2011. Here's the back. Oh, how clever. You can see the back of my family. The back of the book, you see the back of us walking away down this path. I'm guessing that's symbolic of the path of life, life's journey. And then on the front, you see us turning and looking at you, the reader. So you get to come along with us for this adventure, for this journey. How fun. Okay, it says, have you ever failed at something important to you? When things don't turn out exactly as planned, sometimes we wonder, where is the Lord? Blinded by the opposition we face, it becomes too easy to think we have been punished or abandoned rather than gently guided in a better direction. The truth is, our failures really aren't failures at all. Learning how to find success in your failures will move mountains in your life. Author Lindsey Rietzsch shares her personal experiences with success and failure. As a mother, inventor, entrepreneur, speaker, and author, Lindsey has been at the forefront of seeing her biggest dreams come true time and time again, only to see them often disappear as quickly as they came. On her roller coaster journey of opportunity knocking, Lindsey learned a powerful message that changed her life. By embracing this message, Lindsey found strength in the Lord and wisdom in His will. Through her faith, she has been able to taste her wildest dreams and share this powerful message with the world. With this inspiring message, Lindsey hopes to help transform lives by changing the way you think about failure. And then there are a couple of quotes and reviews on the back. So let's go ahead and read this first one. This book was an answer to my prayers. I have been struggling to know what to do with the current situation in my life, and I finally found my answer. Thank you, Lindsey. That was Jay Sampson from Lehi, Utah. And this one from Barbara Loveland from Layton, Utah. What a blessing this book has been in my life. For years, I have had a great idea with some talents I'm trying to strengthen. After so many closed doors and unsure what to do, I gave up. This book renewed my hope, and I am now just a few steps away from seeing my dream come true. Okay, well, let's go ahead and crack this open. Then you got the cover page right there. And we're going to move right into the forward address. Oh, we got a quote. A closed door is really an open door in disguise. Okay, what's funny about this is years later, after publishing this book, one day I was looking for something online and I remember coming across a quote. And I thought, oh, I really like that quote. And then I saw that it was by me. Lindsey Rietzsch. So as I searched further, I found a whole bunch of people online all over the world sharing my quotes from this book, Successful Failures. It really took me by surprise that many people had taken the time to read the book and post those quotes. So this is going to be kind of fun for me because I have forgotten most of this. It really does feel like a new experience. It kind of feels like if you've ever come across one of your old diaries or journals from childhood and you start reading it, or you read it to your kids and you think, oh dear, what was I talking about? That's how this is feeling right now for me. Okay, so let's move on to the first page. Oh, we have a dedication right here. So let's go ahead and read that. To my husband, Manuel, and my children, Gabe, Paisley, and Cambry, I wrote this book for all of you. Thank you for making life so sweet. You have been my motivation through all of this. Remember that no matter what life offers you, always make the best of it, and you will be happy. Can't disagree with that. All right, so it looks like we have 17 chapters. So let's just jump right into this first one. Wait a minute, we have an introduction. So let's go ahead and read that real quick. Social introductions. I used to avoid them like the plague. Running into old friends was always a struggle. So, what's new with you lately? Was the question I dreaded most. Whether sitting in a dentist chair while getting water sprayed into my mouth, or while mailing off a package at the post office with a line of 12 people waiting behind me. There just never seemed to be a good time to answer this question. So, as usual, I would reply, "Oh, nothing, just the same old stuff. How about you?" This always seemed to work, or so I thought. Soon, people began to recognize me like my pediatrician's assistant. "I saw you on TV a few months ago, something to do with marriage and relationships," she said. "Oh, about my book," I responded. "You wrote a book?" Or there was my OBGYN, who on our very last visit, after having 3 children, for the first time in 5 years, decided to ask me, "So, what do you do besides being a mom?" I still haven't figured out how to keep that answer brief. I'll never forget the visit I made to a new neighbor who was going through some personal struggles. After pouring her heart out to me on her doorstep and telling me the lessons that she had learned in her life, she said, "The only advice I have to give you is just don't be a mom. Make sure you have hobbies and talents and that you make something of yourself." She then asked, "Do you have hobbies? And what are they? I need some ideas." There just never seemed to be a good time in any of these circumstances to say, "Oh, yes, I'm a published author. I've been on a national book tour, and I now have my own publishing company. I'm also an inventor and entrepreneur. I have an infomercial, and am partnered with one of the investors of ABC's reality show, Shark Tank. I have a pending patent, and I own a trademark. When I'm not busy with that, I'm usually writing and co-producing a new TV pilot for a reality show in which I've been asked to co-star in. On my spare time, I do motivational speaking, and I update my 4 blogs. If I proceed down that path, then eventually I have to say, however, my publisher went bankrupt, which is why I had to start a publishing company to keep my book in print. For those of you who don't remember, my publisher was Chad Daybell. Yes. I don't publish any other books. My national book tour was funded all from my own pocket. And I still haven't sold enough books to make up for the cost of my travel and expenses. The revenue on book sales goes right back into printing costs, and the rest goes to charity. I invented a product that was about to launch internationally. Then it fell through the cracks before ever making a penny. I have not earned enough revenue to cover my initial investment costs. My pending patent has encountered some hiccups, and it's been pending for 3 years. Just an update, it was denied. So there is no patent in 2025. The TV show is currently a labor of love, and the producers have just put the entire project on hiatus. I do have motivational speaking just a few times per year, which in the past I have usually done for free, as the organizations who request me don't have a budget to work with. Oh, and the blogs? Under 50 visitors a day. I'm sort of darned if I do and darned if I don't. When people learn what I have accomplished, they assume that I am swimming in success. The truth is, upon writing this book, I have just enough money in my business checking account to purchase a meal for my family at McDonald's, and my email inbox went from 25 plus inquiries a day to 26 plus spam messages a day. It all boils down to how you really define success. So, what is success and what is failure? How do you define it? Is one really better than the other? I'm happy to share my perspective with you based on my own life-changing experiences. You see, what I thought I knew and what I thought I was right about turned out to be the contrary. To my surprise, however, the lesson I have learned here is far more valuable than what I was initially seeking. I hope to inspire you in a way that you have never been inspired before. By helping you recognize the value in your failures and God's hand in all things will not only do wonders on your self-esteem, but it will completely transform the entire way you see your life. I'd like to take you on a journey now of how I discovered my own, quote, successful failures, and why I wouldn't change a thing. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Okay, so now that we've set the tone for the book, let's go ahead and dive into chapter 1. What's the holdup? See, as we do this live, it will be so much more fun to answer your questions in real time as we're reading the book together. I can't wait. The F word. We all despise it, yet we couldn't enjoy this life without it. Yes, failure plays an important role in not only our temporal welfare, but also our eternal happiness. After all, if we never experienced the valuable lessons from failure, then we would never truly appreciate the pure joy of our success. Sounds logical, right? Well, if it were really so simple to understand, my book would end right here. Since it doesn't, clearly I am going somewhere further on this subject. Honestly, I never imagined that I would one day write a book about failure. However, I must admit, laughingly, that I have been anxiously anticipating writing this book. You see, growing up, I was always 100% certain that I would write a book about how to be successful. My parents had instilled in me, my school teachers had assured me, and my closest friends and siblings had confidently predicted that one day I would be successful beyond my wildest dreams. Make sure you get us front row tickets when you're on Oprah, they'd say. Though humbled by their request, I wanted to believe them. When you're raking in your millions, don't forget about us. Really, that one never gets old. As the years went by, opportunities to achieve my, quote, wildest dreams were never scarce. They were so plentiful that people would say, "Rub some of that luck off onto me." Luck? Yes, that's what they called it. I referred to it, though, as, quote, the result of hard work, or blessings from the Lord. In fact, I worked so hard at my dreams and goals, I knew without a doubt that soon, at the edge of my fingertips, would be the opportunity to write my book. Yes, the book I mentioned earlier about how to be successful. The only thing that was missing was my golden ticket to success. I clearly couldn't write a book about success if I hadn't yet achieved it. As I patiently waited and waited and waited, I began to wonder what the holdup was. While others around me were assuming that I had already made it to the top, I was slumped on the couch with a bowl of ice cream in my lap, wondering, where do I go from here? I have subtitles of each section of the chapter. Watching my dreams collapse. My drive to be successful lies in my passion for helping others. There were so many ways I wanted to help the world if I had the means to do so. Whether it was members of my church, people in my neighborhood, or members of my own family. I had secretly decided to help many people in large ways as soon as I had the means to do so. More than anything, I wanted to be a motivational speaker, reaching out to women on the topic of self-improvement. But who in the world would take me seriously if I wasn't somebody? I often had visions of being in a television interview on a beautiful white couch, describing to the host or news anchor my incredible story of rags to riches. How I overcame adversity completely on my own. How I took the horse by the reins and made my dreams happen without a clue of how I would do it. How I walked blindly into my goals as a full-time mother of 3 and conquered them one by one, overcoming every hiccup along the way. Most importantly, though, how I had a special message to deliver to the world. Quote, "If I can do it, so can you." With the purest of intentions at heart, the opportunities all lined up, and the constant affirmations from everyone around me, it was all just a waiting game. I was waiting for the whistle to blow, so I waited and waited. While I waited, doors began to close. As those doors closed, others opened. But in the blink of an eye, those doors closed too. Soon, I was about to run out of doors, and of course, run out of hope. By this point in my life, the sight of an actual door just about brought me to tears. Ready to give up on all my dreams and sweep them under the rug for good, I was for certain now that I was supposed to go back to the quiet life I led before all of this hullabaloo had started. After all, there's nothing that bothers me more than not having control over situations in my life. The only way to feel in control would be to close the chapter. If I said no to the doors that remained open, then life as usual would resume, but at least I would be in the driver's seat. Having that surety sounded way more appealing than hanging on the edge of my rope of despair with the fibers, my patience, wearing quite thin. It was a no-brainer, and the decision was made. As I began to acquaint myself with my new life of reality TV and the luring world of the blogosphere, I quickly came to accept my new future. From all the news headlines that I now had time to read, I was convinced that Jesus would return in the next 5 years, and I was better off just getting my spiritual affairs in order. The Lord was surely pointing me in this direction. I could never make sense of why so many of my prayers had been answered, and that I had felt spiritually prompted to accept so many opportunities along the way to see them fizzle out. What did make sense was the thought that the Lord wanted to show me that He is aware of my dreams and goals. He has the desires to bless me and strengthen my talents, yet at the same time, He also has His agenda. I was learning to accept the will of the Lord in all things. I needed to let Him take the wheel over the bumps and curves in my life. It was a tough lesson to learn, but vital to my ability to trust in Him. I knew that He knew all things and wanted what's best for me. Knowing that I would be much happier in the end if I trusted Him was the only way I could emotionally survive watching my dreams collapse. Okay, so that's chapter 1. I guess we will just go ahead and talk about this chapter down in the comments. So, I'd love to hear your thoughts so far. Can any of you relate? So if I could go back to my younger self raising 3 kids, I would say you have so much more to learn. This is just the beginning. This is just an appetizer. You'll have a 4th child in a few years, and that will change everything. And as your little ones turn into teenagers and adults, that also changes everything. It opens up a whole new can of worms. Do you guys ever do that? Do you ever go back and look in your journal or your diary from years ago and you read about all of your problems and worries of that time in your life and you think, if only I could go back in a time machine and talk to my younger self and say, trust me, it's all going to work out and it's going to work out for the better. Just go with the flow. Don't try to force anything. Don't feel like a failure. Just trust that there is a plan. And I know eventually I get to that in the book, but I tell you, it's so interesting all of these years later to look back at the wisdom I had back then, just wanting to add to that what I know now. Do you ever wish that you could have a conversation, sort of a pep talk with your younger self? I do every so often, but knowing that helps me get through trials and challenges that I have today in 2025, because I think, well, if I'm always thinking about how I wish I could take a time machine into the past and reassure my younger self that everything's going to work out, everything's going to be just fine, so many wonderful days are ahead, then I know it's probably going to be no different with the me from the future. I'm sure I would come back and tell myself today in 2025 all of the worries and challenges that I have now in my life. I'm sure I would tell myself, you know what? Don't worry about it. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this is all a thing of the past. And you grow from it in so many amazing, beautiful ways. Life just gets better and better. So just trust it. Go with the plan. Anyways, please share your thoughts down below in the comments. If you have any questions for me, I'll do my best to answer them. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and maybe experiences that you've had that help you relate to the message of this book. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys, as we embark on this book, Successful Failures. Stay tuned for chapter 2. Hopefully I can get them on a timed schedule so that you can expect these live recordings in advance and know when I'm getting on so you can join me. Stay tuned. I will post in the comments on this video if I'm able to get a steady schedule going, and I will also post updates over on social media. So check me out over on Instagram and Facebook, as well as down in the comments of these videos, and that's where I will keep you up to date. Anyways, I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Hi, I'm Lindsey Rietzsch, the creator of Hydro Heal, a product that's been changing dry skin for almost 2 decades. I created Hydro Heal back in 2008 as a solution for my own dry feet. Countless pedicures and dermatologist visits weren't making a difference. And who has the time or energy for this method? Word on the street spread, and Hydro Heal gained the attention of Shark Tank investors and venture capitalists, launching it on a nationwide TV campaign, gaining interest and attention from celebrities on live TV. See it to believe it demos and try before you buy? Put Hydro Heal in the spotlight, selling out of product at every show. After my feet were transformed, I decided to test it on eczema, dry lips and hands, athlete's foot, and cradle cap. And the results were incredible. Brand new skin in just 7 days. But it gets even better. Hydro Heal was also tested on a recovering hospital patient with an ongoing leg wound that would not close. After 3 days, this was the result. A wound that closed, healthy skin, and doctors were amazed. So how does Hydro Heal work? It's a solid ointment made from natural ingredients that turns into a liquid on contact with your skin, seeping down into deep cracks, while acting like a bandage, creating an invisible barrier on the surface, protecting your skin from outside elements, allowing it to naturally repair from the inside out. Start feeling more comfortable in your skin today, because everyone should love their skin. Click down below for a special offer or visit hydroheal.com.